Hey guys, this is Scott from Forgot the Girl Podcast, and welcome to another edition of ReWatching Agents of SHIELD. Today I'm going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 2, also known as 804 is the episode name, and I'm just going to be talking about my different thoughts and stuff after having rewatched this show. I just want to throw a special shout out to everyone who's checked out the first episode in this series and joined me for checking out that. And I want to throw another special shout out to Jakadubi. I think I said your name. I'm not sure if I'm saying that name right. I'll put it down there for you. But thank you for giving a good suggestion that I asked for in the last video, which was what can I add more to this video, which was the suggestion was talking a little bit more about the different Easter eggs and different things that they set up in these early seasons and how they pay off in later seasons. So I'm going to try to touch on those things a little bit each episode in each video that I talk about each of those episodes as much as I can, but for sure always let me know in the comments below if you guys noticed anything in each of these episodes that I maybe missed. I know I'm not perfect. I'm gonna miss stuff sometimes, and I always like to hear from you guys. But anyways, we're gonna get started on the episode 2 of season 1. I just finished watching it. As I did last video, I'm gonna start off by giving you guys just the quick storyline, the quick IMDb plot summary for this episode, just so you guys are on the same page as me in case you guys haven't had a chance to rewatch this in a little while, okay? So episode 2, we see S.H.i.e.L.D. is now integrated into Coulson's team as a consultant. Their next assignment is in Peru, tracking down an 804, which is, 084, my bad. I probably said 804 the first time. It's an 084, which is a S.h.i.e.L.D. prefix for an object of unknown origin. So once there, the team quickly realizes that the object is actually a piece of forgotten Hydra technology powered by Tesseract energy. So Coulson meets with a former ally, Carmito Ruiz. I probably didn't say that right. I'm so bad at pronouncing names, as you guys already saw earlier in the video. Anyways, and he brings her on board the team plane. So they're trying to get in a big firefight during the episode, and they end up having to escape on the plane together. But later, Ruiz betrays Coulson and plans to take the Hydra weapon for herself so that she can take over Peru. That part I didn't quite get all of in the episode, but that's what this IMDb plot summary says. Anyway, so the squabbling team members band together, utilizing each of their talents, and saves the day. It's pretty good. They use the tech side of Fitz and Simmons, and S.H.i.E.L.D.'s computer skills, I guess, a little bit. She didn't really do that much. She used the life raft thing. Anyways, so what we see is they're able to team together and save the day. Then after, we see S.H.i.E.L.D. receives a text from another member of the Rising Tide and confirms her allegiance to them. So we still kind of get this little thing that, like, oh, she's still kind of loyal to the Rising Tide, and she's kind of joining in and trying to kind of infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. for her right now. That's the way it seems, at least, and we kind of get a little bit more of that payoff in later seasons. We'll see. But anyways, the last thing the IMDb plot summary says about this episode, which is a pretty cool one, which I really like about this episode, which is afterwards, at the end of the episode, we see director Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, scolding Coulson for the damage that he did to the plane, and he warns him about the risk that S.H.i.E.L.D. poses. And so this was a really cool little thing. We had Nick Fury from the MCU pop in for a little 1 minute, 2 minute scene just to show you the connectiveness, and that's what I really liked about this first season. That's one thing they kind of do a good job of, but as later seasons come on, there's less and less of the movie characters that stop by. But I thought this was a really cool little thing. We see that he stops by to check in on Coulson, make sure Coulson's still, kicking around. That's the summary for this episode, guys. Like I said, I just finished rewatching it. A few of the things that I noticed pertaining to what the suggestion that Jakadubi, I'm still not sure if I'm saying that right, but the suggestion he had said. So a few things that I noticed in this episode that kind of set up and allude to in later episodes is, first, we're still getting the mention of S.h.i.e.L.D., a magical place thing, and it gives us that I like the way they build it up in these first few episodes, because we're kind of just like, that's weird the way he keeps saying it the same way. And we saw in the last episode that Maria Hill, right? Yeah, she and the one doctor had given each other kind of a look, and you're like, so you're kind of seeing that this is kind of suspicious. And as we all know, having already watched this show, that kind of leads to us discovering that Project Tahiti is how Agent Coulson was brought back from the dead. So it's really cool. I like the way they're trying to like drop little Easter eggs and make sure you're not forgetting about it, but also not thinking about it too much. It's not taken away from these episodes because that's not what we're about yet in this particular episode. So I like the way they kind of just drop in little Easter eggs in. I also like that they're still referring to the movies. In this episode, we hear Coulson refer to Thor's hammer, so it's a little cool that they're still kind of tying in those different things. Same with that Nick Fury connection, different things. I really like those different elements in this show. It leads in throughout the future of this show that they do these different little tie-ins, and I think the first season did the best job of doing those tie-ins because obviously that's the way they were trying to like start it off, get everyone kind of like on board with them, on board with Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by like having that connection to the MCU, and then once it had its own legs, they're able to kind of like do it a little bit less. But I really like how in this second episode they're able to like still sprinkle a few things in like that. Again with Nick Fury, but the last thing I also noticed is they keep referring to Agent May's character as the Cavalry, and I really like how this is built up throughout this season, especially again in this episode. We're still like, we see that Fitzsimmons didn't realize that she was the Cavalry. They just thought that she had come from the administration wing of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they find out, oh wait, she's the Cavalry. And so I like that they're hinting to this, but she doesn't want to talk about it, and they don't dive right into it right away because they could have showed us it already. But I like that they build it up, and later in the season or even next season we learn more about it. We get to see that scene, we get a little more of a dive into Agent May's background. But I like that they tease it in this episode a couple times by keep referring to her. We get to see her again get into action. This episode was really great, action-packed episode. I think they spent a lot more money on these first few episodes to just kind of help get that like that kind of movie quality to it. So the special effects are pretty good for the most part. There's a few scenes I was like, you guys couldn't find a natural airfield. Like I get maybe you don't have that plane, but that's a bad CGI. But anyways, that's not the important part. I still like this episode. But those are the few things I didn't notice in this episode that should be leading up. But again, guys, let me know in the comments below if you noticed anything in the second episode that I maybe missed that leads into the future, or different things that you were excited to see in this episode. But that's all I kind of have my thoughts for this episode in particular. But join me next week when I'll be talking about episode 3. Thanks again, guys, for joining me and watching the first episode and this episode again. And thanks again for watching. Have a good one.